This is Immutable Opinion. I'm Asher Westropp-Evans, inviting you to prove me wrong. Bitcoin is boring. Man, what a snore. Like, once upon a time, I was seeing 50%, no, 100% gains within a day of trading. Losses too, mind you, but still. Now it's just stuck around that 10K mark and looking more and more like those boring stocks that I never wanted to trade. Well, have you tried altcoins? Where excitement lives around every candle. Why not invest in Polkadot? You know, that strange new project which suddenly appeared out of nowhere in the list of top 10 cryptos, which surely is the Ethereum killer. I mean, you know, it could be. There's hype. Or perhaps DeFi is your jam. Why not try the latest in unreleased Yearn finance projects? Unaudited code ensures you'll face a bumpy ride that will give you that roller coaster feel from mania to despair that you surely crave. It's what traders crave. Look, there's no doubt that people are bored with Bitcoin's lack of recent volatility and are now turning to other, more exciting projects on the hunt for those get-rich-quick returns that see millionaires made overnight. But what these people are doing is ignoring the fundamentals of Bitcoin. The fact that Bitcoin has now spent a record 65 days above the $10,000 price point as of the time of filming. Now, the previous record 62-day streak above 10,000 only occurred from December 1st, 2017 through January 31st, 2018, a somewhat more volatile period in crypto history. If you recall, that was the time when Bitcoin reached its all-time high of just above $19,900 on Coinbase after soaring nearly 100% in 2 weeks. Well, nowadays, according to Coinmetrics, the 180-day returns volatility for the OG cryptocurrency has plummeted 41% so far in the month of September. Which does mean that, as I said, Bitcoin is definitely boring. But the question becomes, is it worth the time of those looking to get those massive returns fast? Well, I guess perhaps not. But I'm not trying to suggest that Bitcoin is the only project with any possible value out there. There are some interesting projects working all across the crypto space doing some pretty amazing things with the technology. I'm only trying to point out the fact that making the move into untested, unaudited, and unregulated crypto projects because you're a little bored with the price action of your tried and true base of operations is fundamentally weak sauce. The catch cry of crypto influencers since 2018 has been institutions will come into the fold and help reduce volatility in the industry. And yeah, that pretty well seems to be what's happening. You only have to look at the recent MicroStrategy story to see that trend in action. The industry is gaining credibility, coming, for better or worse, into the mainstream eye and heading closer to that mass adoption manifesto that has been espoused by diehards for so long now. And yes, I can already hear you cypherpunks and anarcho-capitalists crying out that this is never what you wanted for crypto, that this movement was supposed to free you from the shackles of the institution and rewrite the modern world of finance. But to you ideological Puritans, I make two fundamental arguments. Firstly, I don't believe for a moment that those that are leaving Bitcoin as a speculative asset class in favor of investing in even more highly speculative assets with the potential for ridiculous short-term returns are doing so because of any ideological purity. They just want to gamble, like everyone else bored sitting at home during the coronavirus. Most of this money entered Bitcoin in or around the 2017 bubble, and they've been waiting for a chance to see actual gains on their investments ever since. To them, Bitcoin is moving too slowly for their liking. And so, with the latest DeFi bubble on the horizon, this seems as good a time as any to make that quick buck, and this time to be ahead of the trend. And my second point, and now bear with me with this one because this is really going down the rabbit hole. History is rife with those great rebels who, in making their rebellion, simply wrote a new code of standards to which future generations then adhered. And we are seeing this pattern repeat. Now let's not forget the oft-made comparison of cryptocurrencies and the mainstream financial world to the Protestant Reformation and the Catholic Church. an argument made by the likes of investor and analyst Tour de Meester in his essay titled The Bitcoin Reformation. Now, de Meester says of the Protestant movement in 16th century Europe, ideas germinated, rebellion erupted, wounds healed, and a generation of radical entrepreneurs produced an unprecedented series of foundational economic and financial innovations. This happened 500 years ago, and it may be happening once more. He says in reference to the Bitcoin movement he sees happening today. But the problem here is the analysis stops far too early. Yes, perhaps there is a comparison to the Protestant Reformation to be made. History is definitely the place to find repetition and rhyme. But let us not forget, as we look at the parallels of history, that Protestants then went on to become major power brokers in Europe, running the biggest empires, causing swaths of horrendous oppression, and becoming much like the rent-seeking monopolistic service providers that they originally intended to overthrow. My point here is that as Bitcoin takes on the power structures of the legacy financial world, odds are it will become and begin to look a lot more like the system it attempted to break. Will that make it boring? Probably. But will it make it sustainable? Something which cannot be said for a lot of other projects that speculators have started to throw money at. Odds are, yes. People have been throwing this money in the hopes that these projects turn out to be the golden goose foretold. But Bitcoin is here now, and it has been tested through crises, through problems, through good times and bad for 11 years now. Still, not all that much, but the longest we've got in this cryptocurrency community. Should we be throwing all our money out of Bitcoin because it's not moving enough for us now, and instead into projects utterly untested with communities that can hardly pass the bar for what it means to be justified under that word? It seems a bit rash to me. I know you're bored at home. I know you want a little more thrill and excitement. Maybe a little bit of fun can be had there, but maybe you should go play a game of Monopoly and keep your sensible money in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in more sensible projects. I'm not trying to shill for anyone in particular. You do what you want. But all I'm trying to say is beware that golden goose, because it may not turn out to be an egg that they're laying. Anyway, you know what? Prove me wrong. I'm Asher Westropp-Evans, and this is Immutable Opinion.